Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about scale drawing application problems, specifically with area and perimeter. So we are going to go through and solve the first two problems together, and then the remaining three problems you guys are going to try to solve on your own after the video. There will be no Google form to go along with this video today, so just this worksheet. All right, so up at the top it says the ratio of the perimeter is equivalent to the scale, and the ratio of the area is equivalent to the square of the scale. So there are ways for you to use the scale in and of itself to solve for the perimeter and area. We are going to solve for the missing dimensions, whether that's the actual or the model, and then solve for area and perimeter that way. So let's take a look at number one. The scale drawing below shows an enlarged computer chip. When measured, each side of the scale drawing of the square chip is 4 centimeters. Okay, so that means that if this is our drawing, we know that this side is 4 centimeters and this side is 4 centimeters, so that's your base and your height. The remaining two would also be 4 centimeters because it is a square. So I'm going to make sure that we know that that is for the picture, not for part B. Okay, so what is the perimeter of the drawing? Well, we're going to take one side length, and we could either take 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 and add up all the sides, or since it's a square and we know that all of the sides are equal, we can just multiply by 4. So 4 times 4 would give me a perimeter of 16 centimeters. All right, for part B, what is the perimeter of the actual chip? In order to figure that out, we need to determine the dimensions of the actual chip. So we're going to use our scale. We see that 1 centimeter equals 2 millimeters. So since we're solving for the actual, when I set that up as a ratio, it's going to be 2 over 1. So I'm going to take 2 over 1 and I'm going to multiply that by the side length of 4 centimeters. So 2 times 4 essentially is 8, right? 8 millimeters, so that's the dimension, or that's the side length of the sides in that actual chip. So then to find the perimeter, because that is not the answer to the question, we are going to take the side length of 8 and we're going to multiply by 4, which would give us a perimeter of 32 millimeters. Once again, multiplying by 4 and then adding up all 4 sides, you would get the same answer since this is a square. It would not work, this way would not work if it were a rectangle and there were differing sides. Okay, letter C, what is the area of the scale, or what is the area of the drawing? Okay, so we're going to go back to our 4 by 4 square. Well, we know that the base is 4 and the height is 4. So base times height gives me area, which would give me 16 centimeters squared. Make sure you square your units when we talk about area. All right, then in part D, what is the area of the actual chip? So now we're going to use the side length of 8 millimeters that we calculated in part B. Well, if we know that the base is 8 and it's a square, we know that the height is 8. So 8 millimeters times 8 millimeters would give us a grand total of 64 millimeters squared. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at number 2. It's very similar to number 1. The scale drawing of a miniature glass mosaic tile helps you to see the detailing on the tile. For part A, we're finding the perimeter and area of the scale drawing. So part A is very straightforward because we're given the dimensions of the scale drawing. So we see that the centimeters, when the scale is set up, it's always scale to actual or model to actual. So centimeters means that we are looking at the scale drawing. So for perimeter, I could take all 4 sides and add them up, Or since I see that it is a square and all 4 sides are the same, I could take 4 and multiply by the 4 sides and get a perimeter of 16 centimeters. For area, I'm going to take my base and I'm going to multiply it by my height. So my base is 4, my height is 4, and I get an area of 16 centimeters squared. Okay, so then for part B, what is the perimeter and area of the actual tile? Well, we need to figure out the dimensions of the actual tile first. So I'm going to write that up at the top so you can see how I'm calculating the dimensions. So you are going to use the scale that's given to us. So for every 1 centimeter is 4 millimeters. So if we're looking for the actual, I'm going to set up my ratio as 4/1. And then I am going to multiply that by the side length of the scale drawing, which is 4. So 4 times 4 would give me 16. So that is saying that my actual dimensions, it's a 16 millimeter square by 16 millimeters. Okay? So then we take those dimensions and we're going to calculate perimeter and area. So for perimeter, we know all 4 sides are going to be 16 millimeters. So I can take 16 and multiply by 4, which would give me a total of 64 millimeters. Okay, and then for area, I'm just going to take my base and multiply by my height. 16 times 16, which would give me a total of 256 millimeters squared. All right, so I'm going to circle my answers so you can see them. And then the remaining questions, 3, 4, and 5, are all going to be very similar to what we just did on the front. So please go ahead and try to solve those on your own. And then we will talk about these briefly in class tomorrow. As always, if you have any questions, make sure that you write it down on your whisk paper and ask them in class tomorrow. See you then.